866-997-4878.
Truman Talks Law on Great Day Live is sponsored by the Karl Truman Law Office.
Well, almost everybody with a car or truck has heard the term no-fault insurance, but how many of them actually know what it means? Attorney Karl Truman explains it and why it matters. You say you find this with a lot of your clients. They don't fully understand what no-fault insurance really is.
Yes, we hear the term no-fault, and I've had people say, well, isn't Kentucky a no-fault state? And so I thought we would talk today about what that really means, because it's a term that confuses a lot of people about what no-fault is. The purpose of no-fault, no-fault means basically it's to limit your ability to make a claim. It puts what's called thresholds where you have to meet certain requirements, whether it's injuries or amount of medical bills, in order to even make a claim.
Okay, so it basically depends on how hurt you are. I mean, how expensive do those medical bills have to be before you can benefit from this?
Well, some states have very, very high thresholds, like other states like New Jersey, Michigan. You have to have a very severe permanent injury even to make a claim. Kentucky law, the threshold is fairly minimal, because you have to have at least $1,000 in medical bills, and of course an ER visit is $1,000. So it doesn't really have a large threshold to meet those requirements, but it does create a minimum threshold. And then the other thing that it does is that it creates the issue of who's paying your medical bills, because the very first question that clients will come to me and say, well, I need my medical bills paid. Who's going to pay my medical bills? And then clients will say, well, it wasn't my fault. Why don't we just send the bills to the other driver's insurance company and let them pay my bills? Well, it doesn't work that way. Under Kentucky no fault, your insurance company is primarily responsible to pay your medical bills. So everyone, unless you reject it, now you can file a form with the Department of Insurance that says, I don't want to be under no fault, but that rarely happens. But otherwise, then the law says that your insurance company pays your medical bills. You automatically have, it's called PIP, P-I-P,
right.
Stands for Personal Injury Protection. What that means is that your insurance company is responsible to pay the first $10,000 of your medical bills. And then what would happen is that your insurance company would go to the other driver's insurance company to get that money back.
Okay, now what about if somebody is hurt bad enough they can't go back to work? Is there a cap on lost wages? Because often that's the scariest part of getting hurt for somebody. Mm-hmm. They need to provide for their family. So
well, and that's a very good point, because under lost wages, now of course you make a lost wage claim against the other driver, but in the interim, if you need some money for lost wages, you can make a lost wage claim under your PIP benefit, but it is capped at $200. Now that's not a cap for your claim against the other person, but that's a cap for what your insurance company will pay you.
Okay, and something else, what if you're not driving, you're actually walking down the road, you're a pedestrian, and you're hit by a car? Does no-fault insurance help you then?
And that's a very important aspect, and that's a good question, that if you're hit by a car, then you as a pedestrian are entitled to receive their no-fault or PIP benefits from the car that hit you. So even if you don't have any insurance yourself, the car that hit you, they'll pay your medical bills up to that $10,000 limit.
Okay, and one other thing here, can you purchase more no-fault insurance coverage if you want to?
Yeah, good question that a lot of people overlook is that, $10,000 doesn't go very far with medical bills. Mm-hmm. So you can purchase additional PIP, and I recommend people do that because it's fairly inexpensive, and you can purchase it in $10,000 increments, to really help you with your bills. So I think that it's really a good thing to look into.
Yeah, and like we've said before, perhaps it's better to have and not need as opposed to need and not have. So
Absolutely.
You never know. All right, Karl, thank you so much. You can get in touch with attorney Karl Truman's Law Office at 222-2222 or go to trumanlaw.com.
There can be serious complications caused by metal-on-metal hip implants from the shredding of metallic debris. These complications can include pain, swelling, problems walking, buildup of metallic debris, and the need for further surgery. This may cause long-term health issues. If you think you may have a metal-on-metal hip implant even with no symptoms, you may be entitled to money damages. Call the Karl Truman Law Office today at 222-2222 for a free evaluation.
What you can't get anywhere else.
Louisville's premier appliance store is at it again. It's Chinwith Appliances Summer Appliance Blowout. huge sale on all GE appliances. And for a limited time, GE is offering